What's up, nerds? First and foremost, thanks for watching the first 5 seconds of this video. Chances are 60% of you turned it off already, but if you're hanging around, here's what you're in for. I'm going to use World Painter, I'm going to use MC Edit, I'm going to use every mod I can get my hand on, and even make some of my own, to make what I hope to be a truly unique Minecraft experience. I'm trying to upgrade my 1.12 server up to 1.13. But it's proven to be hard because as you can see, Spigot thinks it can do a better job generating terrain than me. But fortunately, I graduated kindergarten and have a PhD in internet loafing, and I frequent the World Painter subreddit, and I've seen another person with this problem. So what we're looking at here is my custom World Painter terrain with a sea level at about 120. And some mountains, and some big trees, and some even bigger caves, being overridden by vanilla terrain generation in certain clusters of chunks. So, to dive right into the meat and potatoes of this, I'm pretty sure this is happening because these chunks, the ones that are being overwritten, have been marked with the populate layer in World Painter. The populate layer in World Painter is supposed to designate a chunk to be kind of regenerated by the Minecraft code. If it's for whatever biome it's in, it'll generate the trees, it can generate mine shafts, all the randomly generated structures, and more. But the way that works has obviously changed in 1.13. So we have a few options to get around this. As you can see in these chunks, if the chunks are loaded on the 1.12 server, they won't be overwritten when we migrate up to 1.13. But we would lose all the 1.13 generation, and we'd have to make some way to fly around this 15k by 15k world and load all of the chunks. It's not a very good option. Another option would be to just not use the populate layer in World Painter, but again, not a very good option for pretty much the same reasons. So we gotta pray to God that the populate layer still works. There's currently an alpha build for World Painter out right now, and I think experimenting around with that is our best hope at the moment. So I'll make a quick backup of our map, and then whip up a quick test world in the alpha version of World Painter to see if we can't get the populate layer to work. I'm also going to thank this opportunity. Is that really what I just said? Regardless, take this opportunity to thank you for hanging around. I'm still really trying to figure out the best way to make these episodes, recording and editing wise. I've gone through like 4 or 5 hours of footage already because I always go on tangents of trying to figure out different settings and all this stuff. I get sidetracked. Anyways, let's hop into this world and see if we can't find any chunks that have been populated successfully. This is absolutely huge because if this populate doesn't work in 1.13, if 1.13 just broke the populate layer, my entire world is gone to really. I'll have to redo so many biomes, make so many more custom layers. It'll just I don't know what I'll do if I have to do it. It's way too much work. Oh, there it is. There it is. It's a pretty cool terrain too, the way the jungle generated on these islands. Might have to replicate that somewhere in the world. But holy crap, I'm so glad that worked. Now, we just gotta test it with our real world. So, I'm gonna make a quick backup of our World Painter world, pop World Painter back open, and export some of the part of the map to make sure it still works on here too. I'm not gonna lie, I have poured way more time into this map than I would care to admit. But after all, I wanted to make it big, and I may have gone a little overboard with that, because after everything, the map is about 15,000 by 15,000 blocks, if you can even picture it. But no, that does not mean it's just a few monotonous zones. No way. Sticking with the design philosophy I learned about way back in the day in a YouTube video from Blizzard, where they were talking about creating Northrend for Wrath of the Lich King. I made sure that there was a plethora of variety as you walk throughout the world so it didn't get boring. And I did that by creating a bunch of what I call little zones or microbiomes throughout the world, roughly 500 by 500 blocks zones that mesh together and transition, but are often drastically different than the neighboring zones. The goal with each one of these is just to create, I don't want to sound cliche, but like a magical, unique zone that you really couldn't find anywhere else in the Minecraft universe. And it still didn't work. So, I've been flipping through the settings and I don't really know what happened. I'm going to try merging the map instead of exporting it as a new one in case that may work differently, but we'll see how it goes. I really hope the problem isn't with my map, because if it is, I don't know. Yeah, so we're just going to pretend like that didn't happen. Cue the terrible holy grail noise I was making earlier, because it worked. So I'm going to export one more chunk of the map, because I really want to see how this turns out with exporting this giant desert area as a beach biome, and see if we can get any shipwrecks, and see how the 1.13 generation looks. This is really exciting. I cannot wait to see how these custom oceans look. We'll have kelp and dolphins. Not to mention we can now add shipwrecks and icebergs, and man, this is going to bring a whole new level to this map. But check out how cool this thing is. We got sea turtles all over the place, and little caves that you know you won't be able to resist punching. And we've got some pretty cool underground terrain generation. We got a temple here and some mine shafts. And I know it might look a little barren, but I've got some pretty sweet plans for the underbelly of this whole side of the map that you guys will learn about in a future episode. And last, but certainly not least, we got the first shipwreck generated on the shores. Alright, so it's a few days later on a nice rainy Sunday afternoon. And now that we finally have the server upgraded to 1.13.2, I want to make some new world painter biomes to show off icebergs and any of these other 1.13 new world generation features. So as you can see, I changed a huge swath of land of this ocean biome into a frozen ocean biome, added the populate layer, and we're exporting it now to see how it turns out. So this frozen ocean is pretty cool, and polar bears are awesome, but it seems like a lot of the icebergs aren't really showing up. However, if we throw on some night vision and fly over here into the void, you can see where all the icebergs went. This is some pretty cool terrain generation, however. I really like the icebergs floating over the void here as a nice kind of segue into this nether region that borders it. Regardless, it seems like icebergs always generate at default Minecraft sea level. So let's adapt our terrain to that. I've wanted to change the edge of this world into cliffs and waterfalls cascading into the void for a really long time, but I've never gotten around to doing it. So this is the perfect opportunity to start. So I brought the terrain down some, just reflooded it at Y64, and now we're going to add a giant ice wall to close that gap between the top tier and our new sea level. Then we can experiment with some different terrains to try and get the biomes to mesh better, and then we're off to the races once again. So the sound got a little messed up on these clips. I'm not really sure why, so you'll just have to bear with me. Overall though, the terrain is looking pretty smashing. Besides the fact that I gave our giant ice wall a value of -60 instead of having it go up 60, it's looking pretty good. I mean, we got some salmon, and all our icebergs are in the right place. We finally have icebergs in the world. And check out that terrain generation on the ocean floor. I will admit though, the idea to make the ocean floor out of netherrack definitely backfired. Looks a little mundane. But these floating void icebergs are definitely worth expanding on. So we have one more quick export ahead of us. I went ahead and extended those floating icebergs, fixed our giant ice wall, and went ahead and added some mushrooms to the ocean floor. So ocean still looks pretty awesome. We still got our stapled polar bears. I mean, they're not stapled, but they're a staple of the ocean. Anyways, we're gonna have to bring this wall down by one, and we definitely either need less or a wider variety of mushrooms. Probably both. But I mean, damn if this is not some formidable terrain. So I'll let you in on a little secret for watching this whole video. That nether biome on the other side of that void, it's filled with tunnels with a high occurrence of diamonds in them. So, if you can make it over there, if you can face the ghasts in the tight corridors, you're in for a treat. A very shiny treat. So, well, I'm certainly not done with this biome. I'm really happy with how it's looking so far. And this episode's about as long as I want it to be. So I'm going to wrap it up here. I'm going to do one last export, and I'll get this up onto the server and finally get to start playing around in it. So, thank you for watching. I mean, it really, really means the world to me that you would spend 11 minutes of your life watching my stupid ass video. I'm really still trying to get better at this whole video and editing, figuring out what works for me. But I've been trying to manage my expectations, because there are certainly some parts of it I'm not happy with, certain parts I wish were better, but if I keep reworking it, if I keep just hashing it out, it's going to take me another 4 months to put out this video on something I've already done. So again, thank you. I would love some constructive criticism, or even some unconstructive criticism. Of course, I know this video is probably only going to get 2 comments if I'm lucky, one saying, "I'm your Google specialist," and then another one just saying, "Nice vid," and that'll be it. Maybe a dislike or 2. Regardless, thanks for watching. I've got a few more videos planned out. If you don't want to miss them, you can follow me on Twitter. I'm going to be making an Instagram here shortly, and then obviously they'll be posted here. So just keep your ear to the ground, and hopefully they're worth finding. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you next time.